Where did that transition come from? Where did you first...
Hello, I'm Lewis Nichols, and you're watching.
No
Hello
problem.
and welcome to the Lewis Nichols Show. And I'm really excited to bring on my next guest, who's coming back on the show, who I've got to say is probably one of the nicest, most genuine people I've actually kept in touch with on Instagram and stuff. So let's say hello to Anton. How are you?
I'm very well, mate. It's a pleasure to be back on.
Thank you so much. I want to talk about obviously the recent BBC documentary that you did about kind of body shaming and body image and everything like that. And it was funny because when I knew I was going to watch it, I thought it would be you just kind of talking about other people and their journeys. But actually, it felt like the person who got the biggest journey was actually you. And it was so interesting to see. Did you ever anticipate that you would actually take part of this and it would change your life?
No, it was never part of the plan. You know, when I went on this, when I got offered the chance to do this documentary and present it, it was right up my street, Lewis. As you know, from last time we spoke, I'm all about trying to motivate and inspire people to live a healthier, happier lifestyle. And I thought I would go on this journey and help these young men, you know, feel better about themselves. But when I went on this journey with them, I actually completely changed my outlook to the way I think about my own body image.
Yeah, of course. That's what I found interesting. And because when we watched it, I think a lot of people won't realise, and it shocked me to hear you say, because we look at you and I think everyone's like, oh my God, I want to look like him. But actually, hearing you say, I have never been happy with how I look, I think shocked a lot of people, because we see you looking in our eyes incredible and we would aspire to look like you. But actually, on the other side for you, you're not always happy. And I think that's what I found really interesting from it. Did you get a lot of feedback in regards to that?
Yeah, well, to be fair, touching on that subject, I've been the complete opposite. I've never, ever, like, literally thought I've been good enough with my body image.
Wow.
It's mad, because if I'd go back to that young kid that was overweight when I was 15 years old and grown up being bullied, if I'd been told I'd look the way I look now, and not in an arrogant way at all, I would have thought it was never possible. And then I achieved that, and it's just like constant looking for improvements all the time. And I think it really just comes down to childhood traumas. And I talk about this quite a lot with anyone I speak to. I think that we all have our own childhood traumas. And, you know, as much as you can focus on bettering that and, you know, getting mentally better all the time, it still always bothers you. And that is something I struggle with. And to be fair, being in the public eye has made it 10 times worse, because you feel you always have to look a certain way. For me, last year especially, it was very difficult for myself, because my appearance changed drastically when I went on my bulk for my bodybuilding show. And I've put off bulking ever since coming off Love Island, because I knew that I would have had to put on a large amount of weight in order to gain the muscle mass that was necessary. And, you know, I just decided last year, you know what, I'm going to do this. I don't have any TV opportunities coming up at that point. I just want to do it. I've always wanted to do it, so I'm going to do it. And I knew there would be backlash, but wow, I never expected it to be as bad as what it was. And it put me into a really bad place last year, really bad.
Well, I saw on the documentary, it showed some of the comments you were getting where people were commenting on how your face looked or how you looked or you were too big. Yeah. And here we are thinking, this guy's got a huge platform, he's idolized, and actually you were still getting this negativity, which did really kind of eat you up, like you just said. And that was the tough thing to watch, because here you are, we all think that you're the person that we aspire to be, but behind the scenes you're checking your phone, and people, I think one of them was you look like a bee or something, and it was the most horrible comments to see. I mean, how do you feel about that now, especially now you've come out of the documentary?
Yes, so with the bee comment, that was a very common one. It seemed to sort of just become more and more people were saying it. Your face looks like you've been stung by a bee. And to be honest, let's get nothing twisted. You know, like you said, Lewis, I'm a nice enough guy, but I'm a vain guy as well. I'm vain, I'm not going to lie. I like to look good. And at that point in my life, I knew I wasn't looking quite like myself, but I did know that there was a bigger outcome, because I knew what I was doing. I knew I was putting on the weight intentionally, and I know I can take it off. I've done it time and time again. But when you hear it day in, day out, in different ways, it is absolutely horrible to hear, especially when you know it's true. So, I mean, it was hard for me, but what I will say is I stuck in with it. I continued bulking, and it gave me a bigger drive and a bigger point to prove when I started cutting. And I got into the best shape I've ever been in my life. And that was almost like a big finger up to everyone that said anything about me, because ultimately I knew what I was doing the whole time. But it did make me really start to think that how often do people have dreams and have aspirations for their life, and then because other people don't actually believe in them and tell them they can't do it or tell them they're doing the wrong thing, then stop doing what they're doing because of that, and then they don't believe in themselves. So I wanted to make that a point when I finished my show. I was like, look, I've went through it all. I've heard everything. Papers were writing articles about me. The press were heavily on me. And I came out with the other side, and I just was like, right, guys, do you know what? If you've got a dream, you've got a goal, go after it. Don't care what anyone else says. If you believe in it big enough, go after it and you'll achieve it.
Do you know what I found extraordinary with the documentary was you were sat talking to a lady, and you actually stepped back, and there was that moment, and you could see it clear as day, where you kind of at one point thought, hang on, am I adding to this problem? Could I potentially be part of this, the very thing that you're kind of investigating and looking into, which is body image? Do people look at me and think that's how I should look? And I thought that was such a special moment, that somebody that is taking part in this journey actually stepped back and thought, hang on a minute, am I part of the problem? When you look back at it now, do you think you are or you were? I mean, have you changed anything since that kind of moment?
Yeah, so I think that we are part of it, but I do not think we are all of it, because ultimately, yes, people see us, and it does cause, it adds wood to the fire effectively. But when you look at everything, and I think reality TV does get a bad name for it because it's like all the ripped guys, whatever. But if we look at the male body image, if you go into your local sports store, the mannequin is a six-pack man constantly. You know, if you watch an action hero movie, the action hero is ripped. So it's not just reality TV that's part of the problem. It's literally the way the media makes the ideal man to look. But it was special to be able to be a part of that, because I think there's a big movement around plus size women, etc., but not so much with plus size men. And I do think that, you know, hopefully that by doing that documentary, it has raised a little bit of awareness. Now, going back to what you're saying, where do I feel that I'm feeding the problem? What I actually thought was really interesting, and what Julie Cameron, the person I was speaking to, said was, she said, Anton, you know, when people comment on your post something negatively about you, such as you've been stung by a bee or you look a bit fat, people that are actually reading the comments are actually affected, because they're looking at me and going, if they're saying that about Anton, what would they say about me? And I thought that took me back a lot. And I thought, that's a very good point. And it's making people more insecure because of what others are saying about actually me. So I found that very interesting.
Do you know, I've got to say, because I go on social media, and you go on Instagram and you go on the kind of explore section, and everything that always comes up with me is people at the gym. And there is a stage where it makes you quite down, because you look at it and you think, okay, everyone looks like this. They're the people that get all the likes. I could post that I've got a huge guest on my show, I might get 10. You post a topless picture, you're in your thousands. So there is that stage where I've been through that as well. And that's why I think anyone who hasn't seen this documentary, genuinely, every single person will connect to it in some way, because I think we've all been there. And that's what I thought was special about this piece of work.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And it was so special to be part of that project. And that was one of the main reasons I came away from bodybuilding, actually, was after I finished that documentary, I realised that I need to stop this, because my relationship with my own body image is getting worse because of bodybuilding. And it's very interesting, because I think we do look up to not necessarily massive bodybuilders, but guys that do compete in bodybuilding, maybe in the physique division, and we look up to that, and it's almost the perfect beach body. But these guys aren't happy. These guys are not happy. I'm telling you, they, are constantly looking for reassurance within their own physique. And I think that what I did really take away from the documentary is we need to learn to love ourselves from the inside out and stop comparing ourselves to other people.
Do you know as well, for Love Island fans, they'll love it because your mum does make an appearance. And actually, it was interesting seeing your mum appear because she knew all along that you were going through this. She knew about your anxiety and she, tried to help support you with that. So she's almost been on this journey with you because she knew what was going on and did her best to help support you. So that was quite interesting to hear from her in the documentary.
Yeah, and I still don't think she knew the root, like how bad the problem was for me.
Yeah.
Like mentally, it was really bad for me when I was younger. But she did notice that I was taking time off school because I didn't want to do swimming. I started quitting, sports clubs because I didn't want to get undressed in the change rooms. And she did take action by dragging me to the gym at 5:30 in the morning before school. And that's the truth. And, at the time, as a teenager, getting dragged to the gym before school was horrible. But when I started to go to the gym for about, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I started to feel better. As I started to feel better, I started to go more. And as I started to go more, my body started to change. So rather than being in a vicious cycle, I became in a very, very positive one. And that changed my life completely.
I'll tell you what I find inspiring, especially with following you on socials, is you coach people and help them with diet plans and what they need to be doing on their journeys. And it's when you post the picture from when they started to now, and in a short amount of time, that's where I look at it and think, wow, if they can do that in X amount of weeks, it makes you realize it's possible, seeing it there. And this is every day that you post somebody's journey. And I think not only that must make them feel good that somebody who is as well respected in the fitness industry as you actually sharing and praising them. That is obviously where some of the encouragement comes from as well. But honestly, seeing what you do, I think people need to get on there because you've got a very good track record.
Yeah, and I love doing it, Lewis. That's why it's a passion for me. Ultimately, I don't need to be doing this anymore. But when I came off of Love Island and I wasn't doing that for, I think, about a year, I missed it so much. And it's not a money thing for me. It's great that I can make money doing the things that I love to do. But ultimately, I love when people tell you day in, day out, you've changed their lives. It's the best feeling. And that was always my mission. And I just continue to do it day after day. And I love it.
What's next for you now? Do you have any other projects coming up that you can tell us about? Because I know with you, there's always something. Like I messaged you on Instagram and there's always loads of things that you're doing, but you're not allowed to say at the time. And then boom, I see that you've got a big BBC documentary. So is there anything that you're allowed to tell us about?
There's something big this day. There's something.
You're not going to be able to say, are you?
I can't say, but what I will say is it's bigger than last time. That's all I'm going to say now. When I say bigger than last time, I'm talking bigger than Love Island, which I'm so grateful for this opportunity. So at the minute, I'm just really focusing on getting everything in place for this opportunity, including my body, by the way. So yeah, I'm getting all my businesses in place. I'm currently in 3 business ventures at the minute. So I've got the Can Do Crew, which is my fitness and wellness app for children that's been developed. So again, that is something that I've been working on since leaving Love Island, to bring out this sort of concept for children to help better their mental health, their physical health, and set them on a pathway to future foundations through a full cartoon family that I've created through animation. And when I put this out there, I will add, I'm putting it out for free because I want to actually make a difference. Mental health issues in children are rising year upon year, along with obesity levels in them. I went through a lot myself, and it's just, I believe it's my purpose on this planet to do something and use my platform in the right way. So luckily enough, my platform is going to be increased again with this opportunity, and that's what I really want to focus towards. And yeah, there's another 2 businesses I'm working on at the minute. I've just taken over my family business, the popcorn business.
Yeah, you sent me loads in the post. Like,
Yeah.
When we last interviewed, you asked for my address. I thought, okay, what's coming? And this massive tub. And what I loved, you got your own scoops, your own little popcorn where it goes in. It was insane.
Yeah, so the family popcorn business has been going since 1991, and I've actually been working hard to sort of reinvent the family formula and make it, you know, low calorie, allergen free, because ultimately over the years when I've been trying to have low calorie snacks, I've found it impossible to find ones without any artificial sweeteners, or they've got gluten in it, or whatever it may be. It's hard to get one that is fully allergen free. So I've created something, and that'll be launching next year, which I'm excited about.
You know, you mentioned, I'm not going to go into it too much, but you mentioned the big project you're going to be working on. I feel like I might have cracked it, but I'm not going to say. But I don't know. I'll send it you in a private message and we'll discuss whether I was right or not.
Okay, that's fine.
But if it is, that'll be insane. And I watch it myself, so I'll be really happy if it is what I think it is. But honestly, Andrew, you know I think this. You're genuinely, all the people I've interviewed, one of the most inspirational for so many reasons, because you do always give back. You're very sincere, very genuine. Everything you do, there's a real purpose to what you do, and there's always a good cause. So thank you so much for coming on the show again. It's great to get you on, and well done with the documentary.
No problem. And after this big opportunity, Lewis, I would be more than honoured to come back on at that point as well.
Thank you so much.